Hey guys, Derek here. We have an R6 shock and we have a bracket from stijl moto. So I was gonna just take a look and get this on the Virago, but one of the first things I noticed just kind of playing around with it is that it actually won't go in. So, and the bump stop was completely disintegrated. So this is a used shock that I picked up on eBay. So hopefully it still works. But I guess we're gonna find out. So first of all, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to measure how wide this thing is and see what the gap is in here to see how much material is interfering here. So we're just under an inch, about 985 thou. And if we take a look here, yeah, this is like 977. So there's like a good 7 thou of interference here. So what that means is that somewhere along the lines we're gonna have to either file something. I would assume that this sleeve here is steel, and this being an aluminum part, this is probably gonna be the easiest thing to either file or sand down, but clearly it doesn't fit. I'm gonna take this over to the vise. I quickly realized that I don't necessarily know which way this goes on the bike. I would imagine this is gonna be face up, because why would you put your logo on a face up? But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tear apart the bike first, and then we'll go ahead and make sure that all these components fit in before we try and get it on the shock. I think it will go with a little bit of brute force, but I guess we're gonna find out. All right, so a couple things. Is the first thing that we're going to take off is the cotter pin here, and then there seems to be like a rod that we're going to have to punch out from the other side. And I'm also wearing gloves just so that I don't get the camera dirty when I go to touch it. So let's get this cotter pin out and let's see what happens. So on the stijl moto part, there is this little slot, and the slot does face down. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is I'll go over to the vise and I will pound in the R6 shock so that it will fit into here, and then we can go ahead and start getting it fitted back on the bike. So I got the bracket mounted on with the bolt in it. It wasn't too bad, just required a little bit of finessing. And now I'm gonna go ahead and try and fit it in the bike and just do a dry run. This piece and obviously the piece down here are not in yet, but I just want to do a dry fit and make sure that it fits. Yeah, that should be about perfect. So let's go ahead and get the bushings on, and then we'll be ready to put this guy in. So what you'll notice is in the kit there are these bushings, and what they do is they go in on this end and they fit in, and then they match the gap that's in the bracket on the swing arm. So what we'll do is we'll take this piece off, and then we'll have to look at getting the rubber bushing that's in here out so that we can put this the metal ones in. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll get this guy in. All right, so these are the little bushings that go in here. So it looks like we need to push out the rubber sleeve that's in here, the steel sleeve along with the rubber, and then these will slide in and kind of meet in the middle, and then they will take up the space that needs to go in the axle. So I'm gonna try and devise a plan to get these out. I don't have a press, so maybe I'll have to go to a friend's house that does have a press and we'll figure out a way to get that in there. All right, so here's the thing, guys. I do not have a press, but I've devised this way of doing it with the vise, and I think it may work, so I guess let's find out. Yeah, all I did was just squish the rubber piece. Yeah, it did start to push it a little bit. Maybe we'll have to try that again. Well, I'm gonna try that again. All right, so I did get the bushing out. It did take some finagling on the vise over there, but I was able to get it to work. So we're gonna go ahead and try and get this guy in and see if it pans out. I think I may have twisted this a little bit, so it may take a little bit of finagling to get the bushings in and get that pin in, but we should make it work, or at least we'll figure it out. There you go, guys. That's what it looks like. That is the stijl R6 adapter, and then we have a rear shock from somewhere. It was either like an 03 to 05 rear shock. So the bushings look really good in there. The shock itself looks really good, and it adds a little bit to the bike. I mean, probably not a big difference, but it will be nice to have modern suspension on here. And then once I put the modern R6 front end on, it's going to look significantly better. So I'm just glad to get modern suspension in the back, something that is progressive and tunable. I know that the factory stuff is tunable with air, but I mean, let's be frank, that's 80s technology. This shock's from something 20 years newer, so much rather have this. And well, guys, thanks for tuning into this one. I think on the next episode will probably be the R6 front end. I did end up ordering, well, I'm in the process of buying a tank, a used tank, and it is not the tank that I told you guys I would be buying, so stay tuned for that and hope to see you in the next video.